It's Taco Tuesday!
Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Taco, back with another game review. Now, I know today's not Tuesday, but I just couldn't wait until this upcoming Tuesday to get this video out, and I wanted to ensure I had enough time to fully complete everything that this DLC had to offer to give you guys the best possible and most detailed review. Now, before we jump into it, if you've enjoyed the reviews and you find this one helpful, do me a favor and hammer that like button and subscribe if you haven't to help support and grow the channel. The Iki Island DLC for Ghost of Tsushima, also referred to as the Director's Cut, and in my case the Director's Cut PlayStation 5 version, was that good that I had to get it out as soon as possible, so hopefully you guys can get a chance to decide if you want to buy it or not. Now, a while back I reviewed Ghost of Tsushima's base game, where I genuinely asked if it deserved Game of the Year, because I personally believed it did. Everything that the base game and Sucker Punch Studios did well transferred directly over to the Iki Island DLC, and I'd go as far as saying that this DLC should be up there amongst some others as the benchmark for how to execute a DLC for an open world game where you actually deliver a rich and refreshing experience that is new yet still connected to the main story in some way. The DLC story starts out in Tsushima with an attack by Mongols, part of the Eagle tribe from Iki Island. Being a threat to Tsushima, Jin decides to sail out to Iki to learn more, and Iki Island, of course, being the place where his father was killed when he was younger, if you recall from the main story. Jin was just a boy or a kid, and he watched his father be killed right in front of him by an Iki Island raider. The main fight in Iki Island is around the Eagle. She's the main villain and the leader of the Mongol tribe that is using this kind of medicine that plays tricks with your mind and emotions. For Jin, it involves rehashing regret and bad memories. Avoiding any spoilers, Jin, like many of the innocent people across the island, ends up being exposed to the serum or medicine and starts having visions and hallucinations from his past, mainly the actions of his father who raided and pillaged Iki Island when Jin was just a kid. There's a lot more to it, but unlike many games DLCs, the story for this one's actually extremely captivating. It goes deep into Jin's past and psyche as a character, and in many of his interactions he has to deal and accept the actions that his father had on destroying the lives of many of those on Iki Island, a place where samurai are hated. And I think for me, I didn't expect them to go this deep into Jin as a character and his character development or into his past at all. Usually you see DLCs are more or less an extension or kind of a fresh story, but this one is actually deeply involved with the main game in that kind of way. Jin does feel responsible for letting his father die, and that's something he has to overcome in this experience while also liberating Iki Island from the Mongols. The story is filled with these flashbacks and visions from when Jin was a kid with his father that are woven really seamlessly into the present day timeline. There's still badass duels and some larger battles, which I did love, of course, but the dialogue and overall storytelling was some of the best I've experienced in a while, especially for a DLC or an expansion. One of the highlights of Ghost of Tsushima for me are the Mystic Tales. In the DLC, there were two new added Mystic Tales, one that grants you this monkey-themed armor that enhances the execution of your perfect parries, which you'll see me wearing throughout the majority of the gameplay, and then new armor for your horse that enhances the newly added ability of horse charging, which was really cool and fun to do, basically charging your horse into a line or group of Mongols and instantly knocking them all out. The canvas styled art for these Mystic Tales is really cool and dope to me, and just a unique way to tell these legendary stories. And the tale for the new armor presents another electric and highly cinematic duel in a treasure-filled cave with an infamous pirate. Similar to the main game, the side activities were very rewarding and honestly enjoyable. In fact, there's a surprising amount of hidden or secret gear throughout the game that takes a bit of finesse to obtain because they don't show up as markers or locations on your map. For instance, there are these 3 shrines that you may stumble across that all pay homage to fellow PlayStation exclusives, such as Bloodborne, God of War, and Shadows of the Colossus. Now for each of these, you're able to obtain a gear outfit, which I think all look incredible, and they're themed around each of the different games. They also added in archery challenges where you have to hit all these targets under 7 seconds to reach gold, which I found genuinely challenging. I had to do, I think, most of them at least a few times, and it actually was a bit frustrating, but that was likely because I don't think I had on all of the right, archery boosting charms or even the right outfit for it to kind of boost my concentration. There were locations where you could also play your flute, songs that your mother would play you when you were a boy, and you literally had to, physically move your controller up and down like you're playing, Rock Band or something, to match the flow and rhythm of the song. You even help a villager build his house by finding him randomly throughout your travels and just providing him some supplies. And in the end, he actually completes his house, which you're able to check out. And I thought just a little thing like that, it makes it pretty cool. They also added a dueling arena area where you take on a variety of fighters with different techniques, and these were surprisingly challenging. It took me a few rounds to pick up the weaknesses of each of the fighter, as they all have different styles, and then kind of attacking that weakness to win in the end. And you're rewarded with this awesome sword kit that is, it's basically wood, but kind of hiding your steel blade underneath, which was just another great addition. For the world, if you saw my base game review, I can't speak enough about the world that is Ghost of Tsushima. Iki Island was a great way to return to this incredibly scenic and really just visual masterpiece. It has this perfect combination of being dark and eerie in these certain locations, and especially at night, where you have the Mongol shamans chanting, and there's villages that are just, completely destroyed or even ablaze. And then there's this great contrast, during the day and for the majority of the map where you explore, that's just extremely vibrant and has this deep connection in nature, as it is with, Japanese culture. Some of the cutscenes and even just the random moments where you're riding, horseback and you see a sunset or sunrise. I mean, truly breathtaking visuals that I actually had to stop, take an in-game screenshot, which I almost never do for these kind of games. And in terms of visuals, I think Ghost of Tsushima has every game out there that I've played at least beat. I did play the director's cut on the PlayStation 5, which may have led to some enhanced game performance and visuals if you were playing on the PlayStation 4, but I do believe the DualShock controllers had some in-game effects, such as like vibrating and shaking during certain moments, and it just made you feel like you were really a part of the game and a part of the world. Now, I'm not sure if that was exclusive to the PlayStation 5 version or not, but either way, just a really cool thing to add for this DLC. Overall, I think the Iki Island DLC in this director's cut version was a great way to return to Ghost of Tsushima, and I enjoyed it a lot. It was both challenging, which I think is super important and appreciative for any end game content, but also refreshing to where there was enough new features and new quests that it didn't feel just like an extension of the main game, yet it also didn't feel like a completely new experience. I'm going to go as far as saying that this is probably the best DLC experience I've played so far this year, and I still think story-wise, Ghost of Tsushima is the best story experience I've played and that I've had since The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I'm going to give the Iki Island DLC one of the highest scores on this channel so far, with a 90 out of 100. I think the main story takes you about 6 to 10 hours depending on the difficulty, and it left me wanting just a little bit more. If you're a PlayStation owner, I highly recommend you get this DLC, especially if you enjoyed the base and main game. I hope you all enjoyed this review. If you did, a like and subscribe if you haven't goes a long way to support the channel. New uploads will return again on Tuesday, and until then, I'm out.